Productions, the cultural preservation station. Tune in. Tune in. Hey yo. Black education, cultural preservation, Taylor BTV, because elevation. Tune into the station, we rockin' the whole nation. That's right, we rockin' the whole nation, prepping new generation for mental activation. Taylor BTV's the new sensation. Stop the hesitation and learn something new. My girl Taylor B's here to show and prove.
First of all, let them know that every group on this earth understands that you're in a team relationship. Racism is a team sport. It came into existence as a team. You play as a team or you lose by default. And only with black folk do people get upset when black folks start talking about coming together and uniting and working together and cooperating together, buying from each other and supporting each other. You know why? For a simple reason that everybody understands. When you come together and unify, that signifies strength. And right now, everybody right now is pimping and hustling black folk. They've been pimping and hustling black folk for 400 or 500 years. We spend approximately 97% to 98% of all our money outside of our own community, as an example. And we don't practice group economics, we don't practice group politics. All that makes, when we spend 98% of all our money outside of our community, what that does, it makes the other groups enriched. They now are living off of two incomes. They live off of 100% of their money and 98% of our money. And what are we left with is 2%. Where everybody else is living off of 198% of everything, we live off of 2%, which makes it impossible. And so you start talking about unifying black folk, that's a threat. They're saying, you're going to cut off your money from us? You're going to cut off, we're living off of two incomes. You're going to reduce us down to one income? That's a threat to them. Also, it's a threat when you start talking about unifying blacks and looking out for your own people. That means political possibility of uniting as a political force in this country, which nobody wants to see. That's a threat because all the rest of the people in society are living privileged lifestyles based on what they came in here and got as immigrants. Black folk never had those lifestyles. Yes, it's a threat to them.
Peace, love, and power to the family. Thank you so much for tuning in to BTV. Black Education Empowers True Vision. Happy Friday evening to you all. Peace to those that are going to be tapping into the rebroadcast. I'm your girl, Tella B, and this is the Quest for Justice on Earth. This is our second episode, and we're talking about our Black Americans being replaced by the migrants. So that's the topic tonight. We know there's a big, huge influx of migrants into the United States. So we'll be basically reviewing the election, the political climate, highlighting some of the immigration policy of the front runners, which we know now is Biden and Trump. I'm sure at Super Tuesday, I think Nikki Haley dropped out of the elections. I think she's out of it, and that would make Trump the front runner. So we're going to just be talking about that, busting it up. I call it migrant mayhem because they're really causing mayhem in these cities, bro. They're basically like going all out, being a menace to society.
I'm just hearing a lot that's going on. And I'm over here in Africa, but I've been hearing they all over the country tearing shit up. These migrants coming from a lot of these Latin American countries and even from other parts of the world. And it's definitely a replacement of the so-called Negro. You even seeing it in the educational system, whereas though now they're replacing African-American history with just plain old American history. They're replacing...
down in Florida. They're down in Florida. They're doing the book bans and changing the stories and taking words out, like out of the Rosa Parks story. They take it out that she sat in the front of the bus because black people weren't allowed to do that. They took that part out and just said she sat there because she was tired. That's what they replaced the story with down in Florida. So that's definitely happening.
And you also see it even with this big mayhem scandal that I call the replacement of foundational Black Americans as it pertains to hip hop. You're starting to see this replacement of moving African Americans out the way, because you got to remember, they already used and abused so-called African Americans to build the country, cause it to grow, and there push them out. This is why now the whole concept of the civil rights movement is being upon. Now you got, I'm not going to say the word, but the letter movement. Y'all know who I'm talking about, because I don't want to get Tell a B strike. You got them trying to compare themselves with the civil rights movement. Everybody is feeding off the objectives are what our forefathers and mothers established during the civil rights Black Power era. And they're literally disappearing, manifesting a disappearing act when it comes to the Black American experience. So you're absolutely right. And what does that also mean? That also is going to mean the actual destruction of Black Americans, not just erasing them, but to the point, if you can cause the people to look at them as subjects, then we know what the next manifestation is going to take place. So tell us 100%.
100%. 100%. So, guys, if you guys want to tap into this conversation, you can call in at 302-492-7722. We're talking about the migrants, the migrant mayhem, and we're going to just go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and read some of these statistics that I had, Mighty Hebrew, since it wasn't coming up on the screen, just to show you how much money is being spent on these migrants so far. Let me show you this. Hold on.
And also, if you can tell a beat, y'all can see it. Also, when you finish doing this, could you explain to me, because I'm not in the country no more, could you explain to me like the atmosphere? What's going on over there?
The atmosphere is, it's like critical. It's like it's on high alert.
Okay.
Because you're going to see that I'm going to show a couple of videos that are going on, and you're going to hear a lot of Black Americans standing up talking about things that are going on. Migrants are like attacking people, in the middle of the street, fighting with police, and just being a menace to society overall. And then really acting brash, putting their middle fingers up, saying ain't nothing going to happen to them. They get money for nothing. Like, they're bragging on being here and basically getting all these resources that we have been historically denied. Let's put this up.
That's what's up. That's what has happened in the United States right now. All this asylum seeking lie, all this about refugees. No, what's happening is they're emptying out the dregs of their jails into the United States, into our communities. They're junking up our country. And yeah, we feel some kind of way about it because it's our country. It's our country. And I want you to know, Brandon Johnson, I understand what Breakmore's saying about we still on the plantation, but what you're looking at right now, this is what a free Negro look like. And I'm telling you, we're going to get our city back. We're going to stand for our people. We're going to get them out of our communities because they don't deserve to be there. Anytime they can't give us 3 lousy minutes of their attention while we sit here and watch y'all get them all kind of money, you watch us. We Black out here, and we're going to handle our business. You watch that. I'm a free Black woman. This is how we get down.
It's deep.
Okay.
That's deep what
So,
she just said, Tella B. Yeah, because what's going to happen, it's going to cause an implosion within the urban communities, and it's also going to cause a lot of violence with these immigrants coming in with Black Americans. We ain't going for that. So it's right. A lot of people they're going to get seriously hurt behind this madness that the Biden administration is pushing, because there's an agenda. You understand what I'm saying? And I've been noticing lately a lot of these migrants or these immigrants that's coming up, they got no respect for foundational Black Americans.
No,
they get on these TikToks, they get on these Instagrams and Facebooks and make the most evil comments against Black Americans, but you reaping off the benefits of the blood, sweat, and toil and tears of our forefathers and foremothers. So it's definitely going to be some warfare in the process of that. Just by that elder woman coming on there saying what she's saying, it's going to be problems.
Yeah, so these were the blunders from Biden, and this is basically Biden. This is kind of Biden's fault, because when Trump was in the office, he did have some policies that were restricting immigrants and migrants, definitely from crossing the border, how they're doing now. So what he did on day one, he got in there day one and overturned every policy that Trump enacted. This is what caused the influx. So then once all those policies got overturned, the influx started. except for Haitians, because we do know that over 27,000 Haitians were remanded and expelled out of the country since 2021. That it's the most expulsion of asylum seekers in recent American history. It's the same old. The Haitians aren't allowed in, but everybody else is.
Right. It's funny that
You know what I'm
they
saying?
making sure the Haitians stay out, but them others they
Right.
can't come. They can come in.
And Haiti is one of the places that probably need to be coming here because of all the stuff that's
Right.
going on there. And it's just astounding that that's why I call it Biden's blunders, because he just got in there. He don't know what he's doing. Then they went to go visit the border a few days ago.
Mm-hmm.
They were both there, but in separate places down there. And he reached out and wants Trump to team up with him to help combat the border problem. And now he's threatening to close the border is his latest thing. So I just think Biden doesn't know what to do. And I think, first of all, I think he's the reason that this is happening. I think him and his party are the ones that are ushering these migrants in. And they're the ones that are kind of footing this bill through whatever type of back channel way they're doing it. So that's how I see how Biden's role is in this. And so last September alone, 269,000 migrants came across the border in September alone.
How
And
many?
we're up
How many?
to
See that again, Telebi? How many?
269,000.
Damn.
So listen,
That,
let me read the statistics for you because I was on mute earlier, and which is so terrible because I was on mute when I was going over these statistics. So you got that one. Chicago, Denver, and also in New York. So listen, Denver has 300 new arrivals daily, resulting in more than 20,000 people seeking shelter in the city. Now, keep in mind that Denver only has 6% of the Black American population. There's only 6% of the population Black American. So if you're influxing that many migrants, obviously that's the big washout theory. That's even bigger than replacement. We're being washed out there. Our needs politically won't matter at all in that city, in that state. They're doing because the Democrats know that their number is up. No one, Black Americans are done with them. We're not voting for them no more. They don't look for anything of our interest as a culture, as a nation. None of our policy, needs are being met. So basically, we've given up on them, and this is their way, I think, of bringing people in that they can control and allow to vote, and then that's going to be their way to not have to worry about getting the Black American vote every 4 years.
mm.
So
I
New
didn't
York.
know. I didn't know, Telebi, that that's very fast. We talking about less than a year, over
Mhm.
200,000.
Yeah.
Migrants.
So for the fiscal year starts in October, right? We're
Mm-hmm.
up to over 960,000 for the fiscal year
That's
to
it.
date.
So that's damn near a million people.
Yeah. And that's just in the last 4 months from October to now, 4 or 5 months.
And that's only
Yeah.
what they actually calculated.
There
They
are
didn't
others,
calculate.
yeah. There are others, they call them runaways, that they're not calculated. They didn't see them or be able to record them coming over. So they think there are about 33,000 of those on top of
The
that.
takeover is for real.
Yeah, the takeaway. So for
Takeover.
New York, there was 118,000 migrants there that are in New York. 25 buses arrive each day in Chicago, transporting as many as 1,250 migrants daily in Chicago. Currently, there are still at least 3,000 migrants residing in police stations throughout the city in Chicago. So that's when you saw that lady getting up talking, that the lady was from Chicago. They're tired of that out there. So they're standing up to this.
Mm-hmm.
They're standing up to this.
What's
So
the
let me play.
atmosphere? I got to ask you one more thing. What's the atmosphere going on in Philly, where we from?
So right now, I just heard that some migrants got dropped off in Philly the other day. But so far, I haven't seen too much of the migrant mayhem. Philly's causing its own mayhem right now because our gun violence is off the chain right now. In the last 2 days, like 9 people have been shot and killed. Like it just
Shit.
into it like between two events, bro. It's terrible. Like it's every day, and it's so bad in Philly right now. My whole thing is we gotta go from that dormant state of mind that we're in, fighting each other and wasting our energy on killing each other and fighting each other for nothing, for blocks that we don't even own, and start putting our resources together working together and building us up so we can be going from dormant to deployment and be in formation out here in these streets and making sure that we're protecting our neighborhood, protecting the women and children in our neighborhood, and making sure we're keeping things safe and not allowing people to replace us. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
But we too busy fighting each other to doubt it, you know? So that's why I came up with the put your cap on, put your critical thinking hat on, 7D.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? And we know that the earth has ascended, they say, what, into 5D dimension? I've gone 2 dimensions above that in my 7D cap because we need to be thinking in the future. We need to be thinking
Facts.
exponentially. If there's 6% of Black Americans living in Denver and they're dropping off all these people in Denver, 300 new arrivals daily, more than 20,000 people as we speak just at this time are seeking asylum there. What do we think that's going to do to our population there?
There ain't gonna be no population. And that's a
Exactly.
fact.
And that's a fact. And that's why we're doing this. And this is what we bring forth with the 7D cap brings forth things like this that we need to discuss, discern, look, read between the lines, because they're never going to come out and tell us that they're doing this to us. So if we're not looking at what's going on and making sure that we're figuring this out on our own, we're going to be the ones that are going to be on the outside of things, just like we were in previous history.
Fact.
So that's the whole point to that. So let me get into the percentages with New York. I gave you New York has 118,000 migrants, 1,250 migrants daily in Chicago, and then the money that they're spending on this. This is crazy. We could have had our reparations by now, all this money. New York City alone could exceed $12 billion this year. Chicago has allocated $150 million in their budget for migrants alone. Denver, $70 million. Like, where are our resources? Where's the resources for the homeless people that live in these cities? The American citizens that have paid taxes? Where are our resources? And I'm not saying don't help people. If people need help, people should be helped. But you need to help your own people first before you help other people. This just makes me think that this is what their plan is. Their plan is to bring these people in. They're doing it. They're funding it totally. They're funding it totally. And the price that they're going to get for it is their vote and to get rid of us. We're already helping it alone, killing each other, all of the other depopulation, genocidal things that's going on in Black America, that's going on toward Black America, that other cultures have just been a byproduct of. If it happened to so, then that's just a byproduct to them. They don't care. As long as we're the main targets, and we are the main targets. We're the ones that always feel it the most. So all of this money, look at this money, yo. Where's our reparations at, bro?
Absolutely. That reparations could have been paid overtime. Even when you look at the situation that happened in the Ukraine situation, and they brought all them Ukrainians over from Ukraine to United States, and also they gave Ukraine millions and millions of dollars, and they still haven't given Black people in America the demanded and owed reparations. This is not guesswork. They are literally and clearly saying we're disposable and they don't give a damn about Black Americans. And this is why, as I keep saying, we have to take our destiny in our own hands. It ain't a thing no more just about marching. Now it's time to move out because, like you said, if we're looking at the 6% population in Denver alone, and we talking about a washing away. So if you do try to put it in the vote, because it do make sense. If you look at the populace of Black Americans anywhere in the country, all you got to do is overpopulate them with migrants. So let's say hypothetically, if Philadelphia alone, let's say there's 17% Black Americans found, you got to start flooding the community with migrants. So when it is time to vote, your vote is not going to mean nothing. Because
it won't count.
It won't count because it's going to be dominated by a bunch of foreigners. Right. So the curse is now, you see this revolving door of the curses of Deuteronomy 28, but I don't want to make it into just that because that's the time. It is a reality reminder of with our forefathers and foremothers forewarned us about dealing with these nations. And because of that, this is what we're going through. So we got to make a totally different move now. We have to do something so drastic that was actually never done before. And whatever that is, we have to come together and figure that out. We got our own
we got to use the 7D cultural ascension practices and processes to get there.
Let's do it. If that's what it takes, let's do it. We got to do something, and something fast. Because if a little girl in Denver, Colorado get shot in her head right now, what is going to mean? They're going to be like, who are these people? Who's going to listen? Because if you got the migrants coming in, repopulating, taking all the jobs, all the positions of power, let's say if it's one of the people that did that to our people, hypothetically, they can easily cover it up. They got all the political leaders in play. This is a takeover, a total takeover. You know what I'm saying?
A total takeover.
So they said, if we can't touch them openly, see that you're a Gentile is very smart on the chessboard. He said, you know what? We just going to use outsiders to do our dirty work. We ain't got to touch them. We can bring these migrants in, and they already classifying these migrants as white folks. And then on top, you see what they did to the Haitians. They said, oh no, we got to get rid of y'all because y'all can align yourselves with Americans. So anything, because we already know what's going on in Louisiana and all them different areas. So we know there's a connection with Black Americans and Haitians. So we got to get rid of them. You know what I mean? Anybody that's standing up, you know what I'm saying, for Black Americans, get rid of. They know that a lot of them African migrants coming over, they're not going to stand for us. They know a lot of them, all them different European and definitely a lot of them Latino countries, they're not going to stand up for us. Y'all see what's going on, a lot of them brothers, and there's no disrespect to Passport brothers. Much respect to what y'all was trying to do. But some of y'all got caught up on the wrong wave and went down there to them Latino communities and got killed down there. You see what I'm saying? Thinking that you're going to get a better opportunity. No, it's not going to work like that. Tell B, I ain't going to lie. I didn't know, and I do a lot of research. I did not know that many migrants came in such a short. So if you're talking 4 months, 900,000, that's only the people that they're counting. And then they ain't even counting. Then you got the ones they don't count. And then that's just imagine 4 months pass, then another 4 months pass, then another 4 months pass. Then where are all these people going?
Right.
Where they all going? Then before you know it, it's going to be a total takeover in the eradication of the Black experience.
Yep. So let's take a look at this brother. Yep. Let's take a look at this brother. Let's get this next video in and see. I think.
Amen. They are finally waking up. Let me start. NPR reported from August of last year to December of this year, they will spend $252 million on the migrants. $252 million. 17,000 migrants come into this city. And just in Chicago. If we just break that in half and they become families, you got 8,500 families. Hispanics have 3.5 children. I'm submitting to you, in one generation, just one generation, the Black vote will be null. They will have an additional 24,000 people on the voting rolls, along with the Hispanic population already here. They're playing chess, and you all are playing checkers. You are damning our youth, our next generation, to poverty by you all doing these political speeches. One generation, our youth, our vote will be null in all of these 6 sanctuary cities. And what are you going to do about that?
Yeah, just like we said. Just it's the same thing we just said. I wanted to just, and it's a good thing that, our people are going down to the town halls and these meetings that they're having about all this kind of stuff and speaking up and speaking out about it. And I had showed a video earlier. I guess people could probably hear the video. They couldn't hear me. But it was a video of them trying to give the migrants this brand new high rise building in Harlem. And them people up in Harlem wasn't having that shit, bro. They shut that shit down so
Hallelujah.
fast. Yeah, they shut it down. Let me play that one. Let me pull that one up real
Yeah,
quick.
play that. Our brothers and sisters ain't going for that in Harlem.
Residents went looking for answers Thursday night about a once luxury building on Adam Clayton Powell Jr. Boulevard. The development has sat empty for the past decade until this week when neighbors noticed boxes of bunk beds being loaded in.
We were trying to find out what was going on, and we weren't getting any answers to our questions.
They learned City Hall was planning to turn the building into temporary housing for asylum seekers.
No, I don't agree with it turned into a sanctuary for asylum seekers. No, when we have people right here that need the space.
While neighbors were gathering to share their concerns, Mayor Eric Adams dropped in to answer questions.
You are the mayor. We do not want to hear excuses.
But the mayor announced a change of course.
I told the team, find out what's going on here. We're not moving folks into a brand new building when you have long-term needs into a community. That's not going to happen.
The luxury building will instead be a shelter for long-term New York City families.
You will not have migrants and asylum seekers in that property.
Residents told me they're relieved for the change, but frustrated by the city's lack of transparency around opening a shelter in the first place. Many wish they had more input about the building's future. Harlem residents went looking for answers.
Hallelujah. They wasn't going for that. They went straight to the mayor on that. Straight to, and sometimes that's what you got to do. You got to manifest that driving force. Because now you got, like a lot of these people they bringing in, they don't know nothing about these people backgrounds. These people, you can be bringing in terrorism, child molesters. You got a lot of people over here that deal with human sacrifice within they fetish cultic beliefs. You got all kinds of weirdos. And we already have problems in our own communities. So why are you bringing outsiders that we don't have no understanding? We don't know what type of diseases they might be holding. We don't know what they've been sent here for. They could be government plants from other countries to sabotage the country itself. We don't know anything. And they just bringing them in. It's always trying to bring them in our community. But you'll never bring them in your community. You don't open up a asylum-seeking housing complex in Beverly Hills. Huh? You don't open up. You don't go to none of these prestigious Euro-Gentile communities and open them up. But when it comes to our people, you're not going to sacrifice our people. So shout out again to the residents over there in the Foundational Black Americans over there in Harlem. They wasn't going for it.
Wasn't going for it. That's right. So I'm going to show you this video now. This is some of the violence that's been going on. They just attacked this man out of nowhere.
And look at our people, man, with them carrying that man.
with them cameras instead of helping that man. And then at the end, the brother jumped in and was like, called an ambulance. But like y'all should have jumped in and stopped him from doing that. Like I was
Right.
disappointed in that one. This is what I'm talking about from going from dormant to deployment. We have got to rise in our mind state. We have got to use our critical thinking skills. We got to make sure that we're paying attention to this stuff that's going on in our neighborhoods that's deliberately going on. And enough of us have to get together to be able to stop this. This is why I came up with this 7D cap and that quest for justice on earth. You know what I'm saying? It's to go through these different processes to make us heal as a nation. You know what I'm saying? Make us look at our surroundings and study our environment and make sure we're doing the right things and making informed decisions about the things that are happening around us and getting ready, because whether we like it or not is going to come to our front doorstep. And if we're sitting here fighting each other and out at the club or whatever you're doing and you ain't prepared and you ain't ready in some type of way, it's going to go down and we're going to be on the wrong side of it. We're going to be on the wrong side of this. Like we have, and that video is proof right there to me that it's time for us to.
Did they ever do any follow-up investigation of that situation right there?
Not that situation. They got away with that. Those people right there, they got away with that. Because who knows where these people were even staying at? How can you identify them? You see what I'm
Fact.
saying? So this is the problem. This is a major problem here.
Absolutely.
That's a major problem. There's no way to identify those people, to chase them down. And some of the violence that's going on, like in New York, the cops had a little standout. I didn't have that one keyed up, but the cops was going at the ones in New York when they was trying to throw shit at the cops and fight the cops, and the cops pulled their gats out on them. In New York, they wasn't having it. But like this guy right here, this poor man, he just got beat. He just got beat almost to death, and those people just walked away scot free. And this is what's going to be happening. It's going to be that and other things that are pushing toward our annihilation. That's the main plan anyway, to cause total genocide on our nation. So this is just, it's pushing an envelope. This is really putting it at our front door, and I just want people to be prepared and just informed about it at the very least, because 962,000 people are here since October. It's
That's
crazy.
scary, man. That's like a horror movie.
Yeah. And look at all this money they're spending on these people. So this is what we're dealing with right now. And neither one of these two are going to do anything about it. I don't know. I feel like Trump might, but to me, obviously, we know lesser
What
of two
though?
evils
I
here.
don't. Yeah, it's definitely lesser of two evils, and I don't agree with everything Trump do when he deal with his policies. But
Right.
Trump people about this situation before it even happened. Remember, one of his objectives in his campaign was to shut down the borders. That was his whole thing.
And he was going to put the wall up.
Yeah, and he was building that wall, and they was talking trash. They was talking all that trash. He a tyrant president. That now look what's going on when you let this creep Biden in. Now look what's going on. Now we having situations with the Queen this show right here, a brother being brutally assaulted. We don't know their names. We don't know where they're from. We don't know. We know they migrants. That's all we know. And now this man has not only been beaten and brutalized, he also been publicly and internationally humiliated with his imagery on social media.
Absolutely.
So no, go ahead. You was going to say something?
No, go ahead.
I'm just saying the psychological trauma that this has been brought to this man. You know what I'm saying? And his family. And that's embarrassing to be beat like that publicly and then kicked in your face and knocked out. If it was that brother wasn't there, anything could have happened to that man.
Yeah, you're right. It's crazy.
Right.
So that's what we're dealing with. So I just want people to be informed, because we have our percentage of what we are in certain metropolitan areas. And at the rate that they're dropping these migrants off in those areas, like the good brother said on the video, within the next 1 to 2 generations, we'll be completely washed. Our political uh, prowess won't matter. They already ignore like our policy issues anyway. They don't address anything for us. So these people are only going to make it worse. We're really not going to get anything addressed to us now because they don't need us for nothing. They don't need us for nothing. So now we're truly expendable to them. So this is crazy. And my thing is, let's pull these numbers up again because they're right now talking about the reparations. They got the big reparations thing going on in California. And a lot of other states are starting to look at reparations. But my problem with that is they're looking at it, and even down to the Tulsa massacre from 1920. One of the oldest survivors, they're having a court case basically to hear arguments for her to get her money. What more arguments do we need to hear from the Tulsa 1921 massacre of all of those Black American people and the destruction of Black Wall Street? What more arguments do we need to hear? That woman is well over, she might even be in her hundreds, I think.
Well,
And
they keep the
yeah,
argument going so she don't get that money
so she
because they
doesn't
want
get
her
the
to
money.
die. So she don't get
Yeah,
the
they
money.
want her to die. And she didn't. They don't want to give her the money, and they don't. But more so, they don't want to. Not even about giving the money. Is if they give the money, then it's proven that they did something wrong, proven
That's
that
a
they
fact.
were wrong for what they did, and that's the real reason why they don't want to give her the money. That's the
That's
real
a fact.
reason why they're still making this over 100-year-old woman argue some case in some courtroom over something that is well documented throughout history, and different scholars have documented throughout history as an annihilation on our people.
Facts.
And they're still making her argue for it. This is my problem with this. And if we can't see this, that this is blatant in our face, that they're putting all this money out, 12 billion, 150 million, 70 million, but we're still having discussions about reparations. That's where we are with it. That's the message that we want to bring forth to the family. Get out of this dormant state and this no state, low state. Get yourself moving, start getting out there in the community, get your boots on the ground. Like these people are going out to these town halls and standing up and saying what they need to say. We really need to start organizing, and if for no other reason, for political reasons, because politics drives policy, it drives laws. And we know that they've made slavery legal before. Slavery was legal, and it's still legal to its extent now, based on the 13th Amendment, with people who are in prison that can be enslaved. So I say that to say it's time for us to stop bullshitting and get it together and make a plan. It ain't saying you got to stop the rest of your life or whatever else you're doing, but you still need to be knowing what's going on and creating a plan for you and your family and talking to the people in the neighborhood instead of arguing and fighting with them and shooting them for no damn reason and causing chaos and mayhem in your own damn neighborhoods. Now you're gonna have migrants coming in doing it. So what are we gonna do when the migrants come to our neighborhoods doing this? We still gonna be shooting each other?
Facts.
So this is the message that we bring forth to the family today, and that's that. So what else do you got to say about it, Mighty Hebrew? Anything you want to add?
First, I want to commend you for even bringing this out, because a lot of people that have their podcasts and they're not speaking on this, not from a strategic level like this. You know what I'm saying? So it's good that we got the Queen Bee bringing this to the attention, and you educated my mind, because I didn't even know it was so many people coming into our communities like that. And we have to definitely keep watch on Denver like a child, because we are in Denver. We're definitely in Denver.
My
But like you
family's
said,
out there. I got family out there in Denver, in that area.
absolutely. And there's family out there. So, you know, I can see it's going to be, let me say this, right? I got to say this because things is like coming to me. So I know scripturally it talks about 2/3 of our people would be destroyed and then 1/3 would come out of her. So when I see these migrants coming in, I also see prophetically that there's going to be a role play that they're going to be used to drive out who needs to be driven, also to establish a place of asylum even for us. It's going to become that time. It's going to become that time where it's going to get so critical. Remember the movie Max Beyond Thunderdome, and how you remember that? I ain't trying to reveal your age, young buckaroo, right? But what I'm saying is in Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, you got the late Tina Turner, may she rest in completeness. She in there, Mel Gibson, everybody up in it, and everybody just on this anarchism. You know what I'm saying? And that's what's going to happen. And
it's already started. It's already started.
Yeah. So the minds of enlightened people that's thinking like Queen B, Teller B, myself and others, it's going to be a creation in the mind to set ourselves a piece of land wherever we decide. Because it's not going to be safe. It ain't going to be safe. That right there, what you showed that brother get beat down like that, that ain't even scratching the surface. It's going to be murder, mayhem, and everything else. And it's going to be y'all using all these events to cause those that have to separate themselves. This is when it's going to get real deep. Now we're going to have to really fend for ourselves. Ain't going to be no more going to this, because it's crystal clear that the government is a part of the plot. They're a part of the plot.
Biden, they're funding it. Yep. He's funding it.
And what you put up there, Biden keeping Haitians out. Yeah. Anybody that can give Black Americans more power to fight, they're keeping them away. And they bringing in all the ones that hate us. And it's mainly a lot of the bloods that they bring in our communities to destroy us. So we're about to get prepared to see a whole nother great migration. That's what we're going to see. Where, I don't know. You had little pockets like myself and all that, just preparing our minds. We left the United States, seeing certain things. We hated everywhere. The Black American is hated everywhere. I don't care if you even in Africa. That's not lie.
Hated and loved at the same time. Hated and emulated. We're hated. Black Americans are hated and emulated everywhere.
That's a
We're
fact.
hated and we are emulated everywhere.
That's a fact.
The entire world.
She's saying it when Teller B get her mind. She got her whole facial structure changed, and she about to make it clear. But look what just happened. I got to bring this up. I want to say to the families in Gambia, the 7 sisters that lost their lives, the rest in completeness, African-American women, y'all have to be careful traveling and moving to these countries in Africa. All that Mother Africa and Africa, this is what you think. You have to be very mindful where you're going. And recently, there has been some killings with our sisters over there in Gambia. And when I say sisters, I'm talking about foundational Black Americans that repatriated back. It's all over the internet right now. That repatriated back to Africa and wind up getting killed. And they call it mysterious deaths, but we know what they are, because you're not just going back to back, these women just dying like this and horrifically. And one of the killers just got caught. And that's just the loss of life for women up to a net worth of $1,000 USD. You understand? And it was a worker that worked for the sister.
Wow.
You sisters need to be mindful that you cannot go into these countries without no man with you. You need a man, whether a brother, a cousin, a friend, a community member, a lover, a husband, whatever. You can't be going over there into these countries by yourself because they take advantage of you. Okay. So my whole point is we hated and loved everywhere. So we got to come together and put that plan together, that Tel Aviv package, and start the march, because it's about to get, it's already.
We're going to be doing more than marching.
Yeah, like when I
we're
say
gonna be
march,
doing more than marching.
It looked like we're going to have to build a whole new civilization.
Yeah.
After it's all done and over with.
Yeah. Because that's what it's come to. I want to play one more video real quick.
Okay.
Of Dr. Anderson, because I think it's important. He did this interview back in 1995. And
yeah,
he predicted.
I like Dr. Anderson.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I love him. So he predicted this. He predicted everything that's happening right now. He predicted this back in 1995. And I want to point that out to say that this is why we do what we do on this show. We have to start thinking ahead into the future. And that's why we study history, so we can know what to do for the future. So we know what type of informed decisions to make, because everyone moves on patterns. So we have to look at the patterns and then see what we need to do and make our decisions based on how that future how it's going to analyze out in the future. We only,
right.
And I get it. A lot of us are trying to survive, just trying to get by and do what we got to do. And it's hard enough. The world's already beating us down, but we got to rise up above that. We're great and we know we can do it. So we have to just rise to the level of our greatness and put our plan into action, and then still do things that we want to do to have fun and enjoy life, because that's what it's here for. But we're also here for a mission, and especially for foundational Black Americans, that mission is to produce and create justice on earth, because no other person or body in a Black diaspora is going to do it. We know the enemy the best. We have the most intimate relationship with the enemy. We know how dirty and down low they can be, more than any other body in our diaspora. So that's why the charge is going to be for us to lead it, just like we led the charge out of slavery. We led our charge out of Jim Crow, out of civil rights. We're the reason that immigrants of non-white people are allowed to come into this country from our work. So we laid the foundation for this country. We built this country. We've been denied resources historically from this country. Politically, we've been outcasted. We've never had any of our political interests taken into account. If all this is happening, what do we think is going to happen in the next 10 years? So this is the type of things that we're talking about this for, so we can make sure that we're preparing for those next 10 years properly, and making sure that we're going to have a good atmosphere and environment to raise our children and our baby future generations in. So let me go ahead and get into this Dr. Anderson, how he predicted that this was going to happen in 1995. He predicted this.
You mentioned that blacks will be pretty much a permanent underclass in America by the year 2015. Why the year 2015?
2015 because what I've concluded from analysis is that there's going to be a converging of social factors nationally and internationally that's going to place blacks in a permanent status of underclassship. And we anticipate by that point in time, based on all the research that's coming to us, that the next generation of whites is going to be more anti-black than they've been since the civil rights movement. 2, we anticipate by the same token about 86 million Hispanics coming into the United States and about 41 million Asians by that point in time, which is going to kick black folk out of being the minority in the society down to a minority. We've been number 2 in the society for 400 years as a group. We're going to become number 4. And if we have not gotten anything after being number 2 for 400 years, you guess what's going to happen when we become number 4. Because at that point in time, all the new groups coming into America, they're coming in higher than we are, because this country operates off of a preferential acceptance program, which means that groups are coming in based on skin color, going from the lightest down to the darkest, light, yellow, brown, black. And that's what our immigration laws are based on. And black folk will not be able to penetrate through those groups to get to the white society when that happens, because those groups owe us nothing. They don't understand our problems, and they are competitive with us, and we don't begin to be a little more aggressive about being in a competitive posture. They're going to eat our lunches.
Whoa.
1995, bro.
Whoa.
See the type of vision.
That was a prophet right there.
This is the type of vision that I'm talking about here. And the things that me and you just sat here and predicted, for the next 1 to 2 generations is going to end up happening too if we don't do something now to stop this and to really fight for our position and fight for our rights, really.
That's
Fight for
actually
our
going on right
reparations.
now. What that
Yeah.
brother said is actually going on clean cut right now. We are the minority. There is going to be a scavenging of warfare when it comes to getting resources. And he's correct. He's one of the only ones, and I've said this for years, when you look at the immigration laws in the United States, they are built upon racism and a caste system from the lightest to the darkest. So if the darkest is on the bottom and these light-skinned immigrants or migrants come in and they take control of political seats and power, you ain't going to never be heard because they don't have the comprehension to understand the plight of those that enslaved us. Because you got to remember, even a lot of the white folks, I'm talking about foundational white Americans, they're going to also be on a lower social ladder too. Because remember, when these different migrants come in and start taking over these political seats, they're not going to have no comprehension of what these white folks done to our people.
Right, and they ain't gonna care. They don't care
They're
either.
not going to care. They're going to cause nothing but total damage to our country, man. And when I say our country, what we built as foundational Black Americans.
100%. So I'm glad you talked about the history of immigration in the country. Here's a timeline. This is a 3-page timeline. We're not going to go through the whole thing, but I just wanted to show
Right.
how it evolved over the years, starting back in 1790 with the Naturalization Act. And of course, that was only extended to free white people. And what's
That's a
so
fact.
funny, if you look back in history, and I'll just say this real quick, what's so funny about that Naturalization Act is Black Americans are the only ones that never had to be naturalized because we were already here.
That's a fact.
All of these different acts they did, especially with the naturalization, if you look back in history, it was never mentioned where you see the foundational Black Americans that were here getting naturalized. So starting with that Naturalization Act, all through this timeline, this is 1790 through 1875. I'm not going to read these. And then then we have 1882 up through 1921, where in 19, so all of these years, these decades of immigration policy were historically racist toward non-white people. Only people from Northern and Western Europe were allowed to come up until 1965, when the Black Americans stomped for our civil rights, which pushed through acts for immigration to allow non-white people into the country. This is where the influx happened in 1965 with that, and then that leads up until 2012 when they have the DACA policy, and in 2014 when DACA policy was expanded by Obama. So this is a timeline on the U.S. immigration policy. And like I said, it's undeniable that we were in this country first. We were here, obviously, we were here before Columbus. And that's why we never had to be naturalized. That's number one. Number two, if it wasn't for the fight that we did for ourselves, they wouldn't even be allowing non-white people in this country.
Right.
They wouldn't even be allowed here still. They still wouldn't be allowed here if it weren't for us. A lot of people that come here don't understand things like that. Just like Dr. Anderson said, and the Mighty Hebrew was just saying, these new immigrants and new migrants and people, they don't understand the history and the foundation of this country. Hell, the people who live here don't even understand the history and the foundation of this country based on the education that they get growing up in the school system here. So imagine someone from another country, they're not going to come in and understand what we're going through or care or know what happened to be able to respect and appreciate. Oh, this is why we shouldn't be messing with those foundational Black Americans. We need to respect them. Let me salute them when I walk down the street. If people knew all the stuff that we did and went through and how we built this country and how we're responsible for like 99% of the inventions and creations in the world, period, we would have our enough due respect, maybe. But the whole world is against us, and that's really where we are right now. But I wanted to pull that out, that if it wasn't for foundational Black Americans, non-white people would not even be able to immigrate to this country based on the
That's a fact.
1965 Immigration and Nationality Act. Yeah, I wanted to make sure I brought that out. And like I said, guys, we got to really hanker down right now Like, it's time to stop playing around because these migrants ain't playing. You can see the migrants ain't playing. The
Beat
migrants
that
ain't
beat
playing.
that brother down.
They beat that brother down, beat him down, and it don't even matter what it was for. It shouldn't happen. It shouldn't happen. So we got to do better. We got to do better. You know what I mean? And that's just really the bottom line. We got to do better. We got to be more informed. We got to know that this is not going to get any better if we don't move on it. And there's plenty of grassroots movements going on right now that you can get involved with. You just have to look for it. You just have to look for it and get involved in your town halls in your city. This is where they're discussing stuff like this and coming up with these policies and making these laws. They always say you should vote in the local voting instead of the big elections because your numbers might not count really in a big election, but the local is what matters because those local people are what's making that local policy for that neighborhood and for that community and that county. So it's
Right.
important for us to start getting involved and get moving, get deployment. Deployment, that's the art of formation militarily. It's the art of being ready to deploy to act upon something. And that's the highest step in our cultural ascension process. Getting to the level of deployment, we're at a supreme state. And that's a level 7. It's a supreme state. So that's what we have
Fact.
to get to. That's what this whole thing is about that we're doing, the quest for justice on earth. So I appreciate everybody that tuned in and that supports the channel. Make sure you like the video, share the channel. I know we had a rough start. Forgive me, mark it to my head. I had a lot going on. I just came in from a 20th anniversary wedding party that was really beautiful. Congratulations to them, Lovita and
Congratulations.
Yancey. I love y'all very much. Congratulations. Salute to you guys. Beautiful couple, trailblazing.
Oh, that's why you looking so beautiful back there with
Yeah,
that
that's why I'm all
greenery
dressed up.
on.
Normally I got my hip hop gear on, but I'm dressed
Yeah.
up. I just came from a party. Yeah. I literally came in
Oh,
and had to turn everything on and start, but I had stuff ready.
absolutely.
I forgot to hit unmute. I was going so fast. So I apologize for that. So what I'll probably do is I'll let this ride and then I'll probably take it down and then edit it and then put it back up, repost it as a video instead
Absolutely.
of keeping a live stream up since we were pretty much silent for the first 40 minutes. And I was wondering why nobody was
Yeah,
saying
it was
nothing.
solid. It was
Nobody
solid
was
like
coming in.
44 minutes.
Yeah, that's terrible.
It's fine. It's fine.
Charge it to my
But you
head. I got
got
a lot going on. I'm working, I'm studying, I'm doing research for the family. So I can bring forth things like this and bring forth my perspective about it and just give y'all my insight and give you the things that I have discerned that I see that's going on in the nation, especially as it pertains to foundational Black Americans. It's really my main and only concern when it comes to the nation. Obviously, I want everybody to be safe. We're the most underclass citizens, so we have to work with each other. We have to work with
absolutely.
each other. Thank you, Mighty Hebrew. I know you weren't feeling well, and I want to really thank you
Absolutely.
for coming on and joining me on the show. You were an alumni on the show, and my platform as your platform anytime.
Absolutely. I got my
Look, I learned this by
PowerPoint.
watching you, bro. That timeline you put out, remember that timeline you put out the other day on Facebook? I was like, oh, my bro got a timeline out. I'm like, I'm gonna give me a
Yeah,
timeline for my stuff that I'm doing. This is all it's all a part of it, and just making sure we're
absolutely.
educating the people.
Let me
Education
know. I want
empowers.
to come on there. I want to come on and do a presentation on the Nagas, the ancient Nagas.
Yeah, you know what? When can we do it? Because I've been wanting to do that.
Whenever, let's do it this week, sometime this week. Because my
Okay,
PowerPoint
let's
is already done. My PowerPoint is already
maybe
done. It's the Shabbat, so I'm glad
yes.
I'm up.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. Go ahead and make prayer.
Yes.
Shalom to the family. Sending my respects. And my goddaughter, yo, she looked just like you. Oh my God.
Yeah.
And she done picked you, got you. Look, she on her political activism tip. I'm so proud of her. She's
Yeah.
doing great things. Great things.
Yeah.
Tell
She's
anybody mess
exposed
with her.
to it.
Tell anybody mess with her. I'll fly right out there real quick and dip right back to Africa. It'd be like a blink in the eye.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, guys, stay tuned with BTV. Black Education Empowers True Vision. We got the Mighty Hebrew straight from Africa. He chimed in with our Black Americans being replaced by the migrants. This was episode 2 of Justice on Earth. This is our quest for justice on earth. I want to thank everybody that tuned in live. Thank everybody that's going to tune into the rebroadcast. Stay tuned. We got a lot coming up for you. Peace, love, and power to the family. go from dormant to deployment. Much love, Mighty
Shalom.
Hebrew. Peace.